I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Mrs. Beal.
Present. Mrs. Beer. Andrew, yes, here. Sorry. Mrs. Wyatt. Here. Mrs. Kaylee. Here. Mr. Landman. Mr. Raymond.
Present.
Mr. Santor. Mrs. Santor. Yes, Mrs. Santor, I'm on tonight. Mr. Sutton.
Present.
8 board members are present.
I'd like to have a motion to adopt the agenda with an addendum at the end of the meeting.
Make that motion. Second.
Question on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 8-0. This time I'd like to recognize any of our online stakeholders who would like to make a comment on the agenda. Please stand.
Joe DeAndre, I'd like to talk about board policy.
Board policies.
Yes.
Thank you. I'd like to have a motion to approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of June 21st.
We have another person, Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. We have a motion to. Oh, Mr. Frankhauser.
With regard to the approval of the minutes, upon review immediately after the meeting on June the 20th, 2018, it was a clear and obvious confusion that resulted in inaccurate votes being cast. It is my recommendation that the motion to approve the minutes be amended to reflect the intended votes on the real property tax resolution to reveal no votes for Mrs. Beal, Mrs. Ports, and Mrs. DeAndre. Well, the vote to approve the minutes as amended.
We have a motion to approve the
I'll make a
minutes
motion.
with the changes. We have a motion.
I make a motion.
Question on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the attendance records of committee meetings and work sessions. The Athletic and Extracurricular Activities Committee meeting of July 10th, 2018. The work session August 14th, 2018.
I'll make a motion.
Question on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 8-0. This meeting will be televised Sunday, August 19th, 6 o'clock. Monday, August 20th, 6 o'clock. Wednesday, August 22nd, at 8 o'clock. On the Atlantic Broadband, Channel 17, CUTV. You can also get it on YouTube. Just go to South Union Township Television on YouTube. Dr. Wallace, your report.
Thank you, Mr. Seppi. One of the things we always like to do is recognize some of our alumni when they're doing very well or they receive awards and things like that. Currently, Ms. Amy Armour, Physician's Assistant and Commissioned Officer with the United States Public Health Service, is a physician's assistant in the prison system. She was recently awarded the California University of Pennsylvania TRIO Upward Bound Achiever. She was pre-accepted into the PA program at Albertson Broadus during her junior year of her high school year on the Presidential Scholarship. Amy began her career with the Federal Bureau of Prisons in January of 14, and then a commissioned officer with the United States Public Health Service in April of 16. In October of 16, she was a recipient of the Hazardous Duty Award due to the dangers of her current duty and station. I'd like to congratulate her on the job well done. It's always nice to see our graduates receiving awards and being recognized for what they do in public service. So congratulations to her. We just received news of this yesterday. This is a very, very big deal for the Laurel Highlands School District. The Laurel Highlands School District is extremely honored and proud to announce that we are one of 4 school districts across the nation to be selected in the national program WQED Smart Schools. The focus of the program is literacy and coding. WQED and PSBS Kids programming and staff will assist in converting our 4 elementary schools to smart schools. Each elementary school will be provided free PBS Kids tablets, iPads, literacy and coding programs, professional development, family programs, branding materials, characters to attend events, and the opportunity to host a PBS Kids world premiere event, and much, much more. We have an official community kickoff event in October. More details will come. Now, not only were we one in 4 school districts in the nation to receive this distinction and this honor, I think there are 7 schools total nationally. Out of those 7 schools, 4 of them are ours. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Miller and Mr. Gatis for their leadership in pursuing this for us. And again, we are at the top of what we do in literacy. Congratulations to the Laurel Highlands School District. This is an honor for all of us. Thank you. And lastly, successful today, we handed out Chromebooks here in the high school all day long, from 8 this morning until about 3:30 this afternoon. The successful Chromebook distribution today puts us on a 21st century learning path. I'd like to thank, first of all, you, the board, for your support. This would not be possible without board support. The board has stood behind 21st century learning. And today, seeing those students who may not otherwise have the ability to have technology in their home and being able to utilize it in their schoolwork, come out of the high school today with a device ready to go, you can't put a price tag on things like that. It was just very impressive. I'd also like to congratulate again Mr. Miller, Mr. Gatis, and the whole tech team for their 2 years of planning to bring us to today. Also, I would like to thank all of our administrative and secretarial staff who committed today to do nothing but help these families and help these students. It was one of the best events I've seen at Laurel Highlands, and we are firmly founded and planted in 21st century learning as of today. So again, congratulations to the Laurel Highlands School District and to all of us. We all are to be thanked, and we all did a pretty good job of this. I think our students will thank us and our families will thank us in the future. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Sorry, one more. Kindergarten orientation and bus run will take place at each elementary school on Wednesday, August the 22nd, from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Students who wish to ride the practice bus run should report to their designated bus stop by 9:30. Parents may ride the bus with their child for this practice run, and we hope that all kindergarten students participate in this event. Mr. Secretary, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Wallace. Academic Foundation report, Mrs. Kalich.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Strategic Planning Board Policy Committee, Mrs. DeAndrea.
Yes, if I may move the Board Policy Committee, I have several motions. Motion number 1 is the revision to student discipline policy, which is Exhibit A.
Do we have a motion for that?
That was in the form of a motion, and I believe Mrs. Bell seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 8-0.
Okay, Board Policy 2, the revision, this is in the form of a motion, to the possession and use of asthma inhalers in the EpiPen policy, Exhibit B. Again, in the form of a motion.
Question on the motion? All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries.
Board Policy 3, the revision to student attendance policy, which is Exhibit C, again, in the form of a motion.
Question on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 8-0.
And board policy number 4, the revision to student grading policy, which is Exhibit D, in the form of a motion.
Question on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 8-0.
I do additionally have one more announcement. Under policy, we will be having a policy committee meeting September the 10th at 5 p.m.
Mr. DeAndre, would you like to address the board at this time?
Okay, again, my name is Joe DeAndre. I know you all know me, but this is basically for the taxpayers. On June 21st at the meeting, we heard that the district is in dire straits for the financial position. The board voted to take a $1.5 million bond restructuring, basically a loan, that then in 2028, I was at the session where the presenter said that we'd start paying back that bond at over $100,000 more in debt payment a year. So then on July 10th, I was here, and at the athletic meeting, whenever everybody was going to pay to participate, and we're still in dire straits, and I brought up again at that meeting that the employees of the district that bring their kids to this district to be educated that do not live in the district should be paying their fair share. And I was told July 10th that it would be on the agenda, the work session. So I was at the work session on Tuesday, and it was not on the agenda. I was told 5 board members didn't want it on the agenda. That's perfectly fine, but every meeting I'm going to speak out and keep mentioning it, that I think that if the taxpayers have to deal with a tax increase every year, then, or whenever you raise it, then the employees should have to pitch in also. The ones that don't live in the district and bring their children here to be educated by the district. And then now, we're not, at that point, at the July 21st meeting, we were potentially going to lay off over 20 teachers. But we took this bond to balance the budget, basically a loan to balance the budget. I just don't understand now, mysteriously we found all this money, and we're not going to look at other alternative ways of raising them. That's my issues. Why are we not looking at more alternatives? Is that budget are we going to be sufficient next year that we're not going to have to lay people off, or are we going to have to try to take another bond? Which I believe the young lady said that it would be 3 to 5 years before we could take another loan.
I believe that's going to be the top of the agenda on September 10th, Joe. There is a policy meeting. I believe there's another meeting after that, 5:30. What meeting is that?
For the buildings and grounds.
Buildings and grounds. So we are going to address, that'll be the topic that evening. Thank you.
Mr. Sepik, if I may, I have another comment.
Go ahead.
I believe this policy is very important because it could add revenue to the district. And I want to stress, and the word that I use, is that we are in a crisis situation. It is truly bad. We raised taxes. Even with raising taxes, we still did not have enough money to balance our budget. We had to take a bond. We borrowed money for $1.4 million. If that bond, we didn't take it, it didn't pass, we were to furlough 22 teachers. Is that correct, Dr. Wallace?
That was one of the options, not the only option.
Yes. So if we did not take the bond, we were furloughing 22 teachers. That's an awful lot of responsibility as a board member to take on, to think about 22 people losing their job. As Joe said, we don't have that availability next year. Even if we raise taxes, are we still going to have enough money to pay 22, additional 23 teachers? Are we going to be in the same situation? When the financial advisor, the lady that sells the bonds, came to us, she advised us not to do it. Her exact words, it was kicking the can down the road. It was putting a Band-Aid on the problem. And we are still going to be at this exact same problem when we are balancing the budget in June. So, what are we to do? I certainly don't want to lay off any teachers, but we don't have the money. So hopefully, this policy can generate a little bit of revenue for us. Because my intent, it breaks my heart to think that the band and the cheerleaders, we discussed that we had a meeting hours long, that we're not going to have the opportunity to go to away games, that we were charging families $100 for sports, families that may not have the money and their children may not have the opportunity. But again, we need to think outside the box. We need to generate funds. And if this is one way, certainly everyone should be paying their fair share. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ray. Any comment?
You have no comment? Thank you.
I mean, just to clarify, I will comment slightly. The representative from Jenny Montgomery did say that this avenue that we pursued was kicking the can down the road. But she went on to say that she was doing 10 other school districts doing the same thing in other school districts across the state. Numerous school districts are doing the same thing due to the lack of funding from the state and federal government. So although it's not recommended, we are forced into this situation through avenues outside of our control, and we are not alone in that environment. That doesn't make the environment any better. It doesn't make it any better for us. However, due to the circumstances, we are not alone in how we are approaching balancing the budget. Thank you.
If anybody reads the newspaper, I'm sure 50% of the people in here read the newspaper, read it online. We're not the only school districts in this bind. And as far as Mr. Bienda is concerned, I can tell you the history of why that's happened in other school districts. They now have eliminated it, or they're making, they brought it up to the last year, as far as I know, and no longer are teachers going to be permitted to do that outside the school district. So I know the history of how that started. It started right within Fayette County, and it's in our neighboring school, Uniontown, and other schools. So I understand the history of what you're talking about. And we are, some of the things that we were forced into voting in June, we're going to address those things tonight. As far as I'm concerned, we have to tighten our belt in every aspect of everything going on. And this $100 fee, from what I understand, is going to go away. But there's a school district in Pittsburgh, Upper St. Clair, the richest school district in Pittsburgh. They charge their kids for the same thing that we just did a month ago. We're going to do away with that, because I understand the economic conditions here. But Upper St. Clair, Peters Township, charging their parents and students to do things. So we are going to try to address that. And I just hope people understand this is not an easy job. And we're doing the best we can. We have tremendous educated people at this table here with hundreds of years of experience in education, finance, etc. So we are plugging away at this. We were in a meeting last night for, I think, 4.5 hours dealing with subject matter. So I just want everybody to understand, we're not taking anything that we've done lightly. We're doing it to the best of our ability and the information we have, and that's the way we vote, based on the information that we're given. And unfortunately, the state is not listening, because I know Dr. Wallace met with our representatives, and he absolutely, as far as I understand, got not very far with their understanding of what the situation here is across the state. So I just want you to understand, we are plugging away at these problems, and we're trying to deal with them.
For those of you who don't know, my name is Mark Santor. I have a student who attends Laurel Highlands. He's going to be in first grade next year. I'm also a teacher. But I wanted to say exactly what you just said, is that I think a lot of the problem comes from the state level with our legislature and funding for the schools. Because we can look at paying for 22 students to come to Laurel Highlands, but that's not going to balance the budget. The problem is that PSERS, what we're paying in retirement, has gone up substantially over the past 10 years.
It's 34%.
Exactly. 10 years ago, we were paying $700,000, and I believe now we're paying close to $6-7 million for PSERS. And not to mention the reassessment that we just got from the Uniontown Mall, which we have to pay $200,000 back. So that's where the issue is primarily, where the large funds are coming from. Paying $100 to pay to play is going to help a little bit, and even for people paying to come here that don't live in the district. But that's unfortunately not going to balance the budget. I think we need to put more pressure on the legislature to help our schools succeed with this, because it's really hurting. And school districts have had to raise taxes and make these huge cuts. So I think that's where the majority of the issue is at.
I agree, and we are looking at cuts that we've been given from the Uniontown Mall, which we're still paying that debt. And my question or my concern is, are other businesses going to jump on the bandwagon? Because we are just known as the district of neon lights, meaning that we are the district that has the majority of the businesses. So taxes, we're not getting as much. We have to live within our means. We can't deflect on any other districts. We have to focus and on our own district and what we're going to do to move forward to solve this problem.
Just one more comment. A lot of people keep saying we have to live within our means, and I completely agree with that. You can look back at the audits for the past 10 years. Every audit that has been done in the school district, we've come under budget. We've come under budget because of Mr. Hench and his team and the school district and spending. And I can tell you from a teacher standpoint, it is hard to get things. It's not like they just hand out money. We've also cut a lot of teachers, and our enrollment has declined. But we've cut a lot of teachers, and that's hurting our students. To save money, we've done that. So this district has done a lot to try to live within our means, but we're getting to the point now where it's really starting to impact the students. And it needs to be the legislature that steps up and says, hey, we need to fund our schools more, because you all are in a bind, and we know the taxpayers don't want more of a burden, but at the same time, these students are our future. My son is in this school district. You've had children in this school district. We have to do something to make them have a brighter future, or Fayette County's going to do the same thing over and over again.
Thank you, Mr. Santor.
It does affect the students, which are our top priority, but we also have to remember that our administrators and our staff are our family too. And if we don't get the bond, are we on the table for furloughing 22 more teachers? And furloughs come with seniority and experience.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, my name is Dennis Stasi. I have a son that's going to be in 10th grade. And I had just heard from several different sources that for the upcoming school year that if all the clubs are going to be cut out. Is that true?
Oh, my house the other night. Okay, my wife just texted me your number before I came here. I didn't get it until today, so that's why I didn't call you last night or today. I was getting out computers, so I apologize for that, but I just got it. Some of the clubs have been done away with, and others are still in effect. Not every club, but some.
Would you be able to just elaborate on which clubs are?
I can't at this time because I don't have the list with me. All that's been discussed over the last few months. I can get that to you.
Sure.
I will compile that, and I'll return a call to you, and I can make sure that I get to you what is still in place and what is not. I just don't have it readily available right in front of me right now.
Yeah, we were just told that basically all the clubs were cut out. I mean, you still have, obviously you still have sports, you still have bands, you still have teams. They said all the clubs are next, and I was like, that sounds pretty severe to cut.
Just off the top of my head, I know that we have 2 factions of the quiz team that are still in place. I know that for a fact.
2 factions, what was it?
I'm sorry?
Well, quiz team. Okay.
Yes.
That's an academic club. That's an academic club.
Yeah. That's just.
I want to open my mouth and put my foot in it. Yeah. Let me make sure I have the right information for you, but I can get that to you.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll reach out to the number that I have, and I'll get that to you in the next day or 2.
Okay. No, I was just thinking, so obviously this, cutting some of these clubs out obviously has to do with the financial situation.
Yes, sir.
You guys are in. Just to speak on that, if there was other avenues to take instead of cutting clubs out, I could see, sure you have, whatever, let's say you have 10, 12 clubs, maybe you can cut out the underperforming clubs, the bottom 2, where you don't have the participation or whatever, but to cut out a lot of the clubs, I just think that's a bad idea. If you could just maybe try and explore another avenue to save money.
We took the exact approach that you just described. We looked at the participation in clubs over the last few years, and the ones that had the least amount of participation. Yeah. That's where we started and moved from there.
And you may still have some of those clubs because some of the teachers may step up and just have them anyway on their own. I haven't I have no information about that, but I know the teachers in the school district, and they'll step up and do what they have to do to make us successful. And I'm sure some of them, I've had them talk to me. I was a principal for 27 years in the school district, and I can tell you, they will step up and they'll do the best they can to make sure the students are getting the activities they need.
Sure. Is it also maybe do you need more volunteers to help with the clubs? I mean, if that's the case, then we could, volunteer before.
That's a possibility. We do have some people that do step up for all kinds of things in the school district. But of course, they have to have clearances. Anybody that steps up and does anything in the school district must have all their clearances.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Just to piggyback on that thought, at the elementary level, I did give the building principals at the elementary the autonomy that any club that was cut, if they have volunteers and that had clearances and they want to sponsor those themselves voluntarily, that's already in play.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, let's move on with the meeting. Curriculum committee meeting, curriculum committee, Mrs. Santor.
Item C1I is informational. Opening events planned for the start of the 2018-2019 school year in Exhibit E, which is informational. Another informational, C2, the Laurel Highlands School District has been awarded an additional 3 years of grant funding for the 21st Century After-School Tutoring Program for the elementary level. Item C3A, approves successful bidders for the elementary tutor program in conjunction with the 21st Century Learning Grant found in Exhibit F. I'd like to put that into the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion? All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 8-0.
Another informational, C4I, the Laurel Highlands School District has been invited by the Somerset Trust Bank at Giant Eagle Monday, August 20th, to present technology advancements currently being utilized in our schools. Mr. Randy Miller and Mr. Eric Davis will present the Augmented Reality Literacy Initiative, and Mrs. Penny Mattiosky will present the new Ozobots and Dash robots. Item C5A, approve cooperative agreements and addendum between St. Francis University and the Laurel Highlands School District. I'd like to put that into the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion? All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 8-0.
That concludes my report, Mr.
Thank you, Mrs. Santor. Ladies and crowns, Mrs. Bortz.
Yes, I'd like to also mention before I read, there will be a committee meeting right after Ms. DeAndrea's curriculum meeting, September 10th at 5:30, all invited. Okay, BG1A, approved standard fire alarm inspection agreement with Intelligent Electrical System, LLC, for a 3-year period. This agreement is for the high school administration building. The total cost is $16,800, which is a 5% discount. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion, roll call.
Mrs. Bortz?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Beal? Mrs. Glad? Mrs. Santor?
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich?
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk?
Yes.
8 yeas.
G2A, approved contract agreement with First Stage for safety inspection and maintenance of Laurel Highlands theatrical equipment. Total cost is $2,976. This includes the high school and the middle school. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion, roll call.
Mrs. Bortz?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Santor?
Yes.
Mrs. Glad?
Glad.
Mrs. Kalich?
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mrs. Beal?
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk?
Yes.
8 yeas.
Does that conclude your report, Mrs. Bortz?
That concludes my report.
Thank you. Finance, Budget, and Taxation Committee, Mr. Raymond.
Yes, F1A, I'd like to put in the form of a motion to approve the treasurer and budget report found in Exhibit G.
Second.
Question on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 8-0.
F2, I'd like to put in the form of a motion the payment of bills found in Exhibit H.
Second.
Question on the motion, roll call.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz?
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mrs. Glad? Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal,
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
F3 is the investment report, that's informational, it's in your packet. F4, is also informational, board summary report, and I'd like to put into a form of motion to approve the federal report found in Exhibit K.
Question on the motion, roll call.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad,
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
8 yeas.
F6, I
I'm
would
sorry,
like,
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
F6, I would like to table that until next month's meeting. That was not in the packet. It was supposed to be in Exhibit L, and I did not have the opportunity to review that report. F7,
You have a motion to table.
yeah, do I have to make a motion for that?
Yes.
Second.
Thank you.
Question on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
F7, approve request by South Union Township Supervisors for tax forgiveness of $915.33 for property on Garden Mill Road purchased by the township and being used for public purpose in conjunction with the sheepskin trail, also known as the dog park. I'd like to put that into the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion, roll call.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal, Mrs. Glad,
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
That concludes my report, Mr. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Food Service Committee, Mrs. Glad, would Mrs. McHale like to do that? Oh, you want to do that, Mrs.? Okay, go ahead, you're on.
Second.
Question on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 8-0.
Second.
Question on the motion, roll call.
Mrs. Glad? Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Thank you, Mrs. Security and Transportation Committee, Mrs. Beal.
Yes, I move to approve the first student bus drivers list and M&R van drivers list exhibit A.
Second.
Question on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
With the 2A, I move to approve the transportation schedule for the 2018-2019 school year. Exhibit A.
Second.
Question on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 8-0.
3A, to accept and regret the resignation of Mr. James Atwood, security officer, effective immediately. He has 2.5 years of dedicated service to the district.
Before the board votes on that, I would like to say that he was very well received by the student body, very good employee, we want to miss him. Congratulations to him in his new endeavor.
We have a motion, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Human Resource Committee, Mrs. Kalich.
Personal and Labor Relations, Professional Personnel, P1A, approved substitute teachers for the 2018-19 school year, Exhibit P.
A, regular certified substitutes, B, emergency certified substitutes. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion, roll call.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal,
Yes.
Mr. Stefan.
Yes.
8 yeas.
P2I, Erin Fisher, English teacher at the high school, will be returning to her position at the beginning of the 2018-19 school year. P3I, Debbie Campbell, grade 2 teacher at Clark Elementary School, will be returning to her position at the beginning of the 2018-2019 school year. P4A, accept with regret the resignation of Mr. Zachary Just, middle school social studies teacher, effective immediately. Mr. Just has 7+ years of dedicated service to the district. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
We'd also like to wish Mr. Just the best in his new endeavor also.
P5INA, request for retirements, other leaves, and resignations. Approved request from professional employee A for a first semester sabbatical for professional development. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Following is all informational. Professional employee B will be taking a parental leave for the collective bargaining agreement for the 2018-2019 school year. Professional employee C will be on leave for the 2018-2019 school year using accumulated sick days. Professional employee D will be on leave from August 21st, 2018 through January 1st, 2019 using accumulated days. Employee will be using sick, personal, and FMLA days. Professional employee E will be on leave from August 28, 2018 up to and including October 22nd, 2018. 38 days of accumulated sick leave will be used. P7A, approve Brianna B. Hall as the middle school autistic support teacher for terms of the collective bargaining agreement. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion, roll call.
Yes, I have a question.
Question?
This is for Mr. Hatch. Do we have the money in the budget to fund this position for this year?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. And I wanted to be very transparent where we are in a crisis situation with funding, which I think it was long and lengthy, which I addressed, but thank you, Mr. Hatch.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
This is an outstanding candidate, her character as I've known her, a wonderful family, and also professionally, as she has worked in my building and has done such a nice job and admired by staff. We have the money in the budget this year, as Mr. Hench has said. Therefore, I have to vote yes. I think she would be an asset.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mr. Stefan.
Yes.
8 yeas.
P8A, approve permission for the following individuals to be placed as long-term substitutes in the positions indicated in Exhibit Q. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion, roll call.
Again, I have a question on the motion, Mr. Sepik, and I'm sorry, but I think it's very important to the families and to the students to know what positions they are and what teachers they will have. So Brandy, could you please read the long terms and who will be in?
Nicole Bryson, building assignment, high school English.
Just read the ones down the right side.
Can you do just the right side?
Yeah, the left side should not be read.
Shelby Udo, Sarah Amberwitz, Sarah Curry, Kelly Collins, Leanne Sperry, Beth Sheehan, Jessica Barnhart, and Robert Strickler.
We have a second.
Yes.
Roll call. Roll call.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
P9A, approved guidance internship for Sabrina Coburn, student at Carlow University for the fall semester of the 2018-2019 school year. She will be at the middle school under the supervision of Mrs. Nicole Boda. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion? All those in favor? Those opposed, motion carries.
P10A, approved guidance internship for Cassandra Fuller, student at California University for the spring semester of the 2018-2019 school year. She will be supervised at each level by district counselors. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
P11A, approved substitute employees for support personnel for the 2018-2019 school year. Exhibit R, service personnel, clerical personnel, security personnel, paraprofessionals, health room aides, and technical support staff. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal, Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
P12A, approved Bobby Sue Franzik as the successful bidder for the 7-hour cafeteria helper position, Clark Elementary School, for terms of the collective bargaining agreement, effective at the beginning of the 2018-2019 school year. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal, Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
P13A, approved Marianne Blaney as successful bidder for the 5.5-hour cafeteria helper for Hatfield Elementary School, for terms of the collective bargaining agreement, effective at the beginning of the 2018-19 school year. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal, Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
P14A, approved updated paraprofessional list for the 2018-19 school year, Exhibit S. I'd like to put that into a form of a motion.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal, Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
That ends my report, Mr. Suffolk.
Thank you, Mrs. Kaler. The Athletic and Extracurricular Activities Committee, Mrs. Santor or Mr.
AE1A, I'd like to put this in the form of a motion, accept the financial reports from our booster groups found in Exhibit T. I'd like to put that into the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal, Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Item AE2A, accept the resignation of Mr. Craig Kuhn, head varsity golf coach, effective July 9th, 2018. Vacated position was posted. I'd like to put that into the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
AE3A, selection of the head varsity golf coach for a 1-year contract. I'd like to put that into the form of a motion. The name is Mr. Louis Gonzalez. I'd like to put that into the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion?
I have a question. Is all clearances in, and are we good with that? Okay, so we're good. Okay, thank you.
A very excellent interview that we had with him. So,
Yes, all clearances are in.
He's a 27-year veteran from the Navy, and he's now kind of comical, but he participates in a golf program at Penn State where he's enrolled as a student. So really a class person that Laurel Highlands is getting, and I was very impressed with him, very impressed.
And I value your opinion. Nowadays, I just want to double check and ensure they have their clearances.
Yeah, roll call, please.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mrs. Beal, Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
Eight
Also
yeas.
want to say that he told us at the meeting that he's been around the world 2 times underground, or under the water. So he's well experienced in the Navy.
Item 84A, approve extracurricular, special interest clubs, and club sponsors for the 2018-2019 school year per the collective bargaining agreement found in Exhibit U. I'd like to put that into the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal, Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Item 85A, approve fall coaching positions for the 2018-2019 school year per the collective bargaining agreement found in Exhibit B. I'd like to put that into the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mrs. Beal, Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Item 86A, approve contract with Kennywood for Laurel Highlands School Picnic to be held on Saturday, May the 4th, 2019. This is at no cost to the district. I'd like to put that into the form of a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal, Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Mr. Suffolk, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Santor. Mr. Frankhauser, and we'll go to the end.
Yeah, there are no grievances at the board level, and from the solicitor's report, we will be working together with bond counsel moving forward over the next few months regarding the mortgage. That's it for legal advice.
Thank you, Mr. Frankhauser.
Well, yeah, I can do that, I guess.
Yes, go ahead.
Board, or the chairman can accept a motion to approve the copier contract as was put out with request for proposals. And the recommended contract is with Ford Business Machine.
I'd like to make the motion to, again, the Ford Business Machine accept their contract.
Second.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. DeAndrea,
Yes.
Mrs. Bortz,
Yes.
Mrs. Beal,
Yes.
Mrs. Glad, Mrs. Kalich,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond,
Yes.
Mrs. Santor,
Yes.
Mr. Suffolk.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Motion carries. And I'd like to go to the addendum. Dr. Wallace?
Sir, Mr. Sir. Item 1A on the addendum, I'd like the board to consider a motion to accept the retirement of Mrs. Anita Abbott, Spanish teacher at the high school effective first workday of the 2018-2019 professional employee work year. Mrs. Abbott has 34 plus years of dedicated service to the district.
Make a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Abbott for her 34 plus years of service. Anyone here that ever had an opportunity to work with her or had a child in her class knows it's hard to find a more caring teacher. So congratulations to her and her retirement. I'd like the board to consider a motion to approve permission to post, advertise, and interview for the Spanish position. Also, place substitute in the position until the process is complete if necessary.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion, roll call.
I have a question. Dr. Wallace, will you be looking for someone that is certified specifically in Spanish, as there was one last year? Those students, especially in the AP classes, have to have someone highly skilled and competent and qualified in teaching that.
Our goal is to find one with Spanish certification. That's our first option. I would most likely try to find someone who had a dual certification in more than one language. We don't know what's out there yet, so we're going to advertise and interview after we post. There may be people within the district that wish to bid into it. If that is not the process, or if that's not the case, of course, then we will go into an advertisement, and we will, of course, have the board involved with all interviews.
Financially, with an individual that's retiring and somebody coming in at the first level, that there is a little bit of a savings there. So these are some of the financial things that we can do to help us out in the budget. So, and at one time, most of the teachers in language were certified in French and Spanish, but I think that's no longer an option in colleges. So we're going to do our best to get the most qualified person. Okay, Dr. Wallace. We need a vote we need a motion and a second on that.
I have a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Roll call.
Mrs. Boertz?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Beal? Mrs. Santor? Mrs. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mrs. Glad?
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich?
Yes.
Mr. Sevick?
Yes.
8 yeas.
3A, I would like the board to consider a motion to approve the request by professional employee F for a sabbatical leave for restoration of health for the 2018-2019 school year.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion, roll call.
Mrs. Boertz?
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mrs. Glad?
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Santor?
Yes.
Mrs. Beal?
Yes.
Mr. Sevick?
Yes.
8 yeas.
Item 4A,
Not mine.
this is more informational. Support staff employee G will be off on a family medical leave beginning August 22nd, 2018, and continuing for an undetermined time for a period not to exceed 60 days. Item 5A, I'd like the board to consider a motion to accept the resignation of Joby Colombo, assistant middle school boys soccer coach, effective immediately.
I'll make a motion.
Question on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Item 6A, I'd like the board to consider a motion to approve for the band and cheerleaders to attend away football games and one parade funded by the district.
So moved.
Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Roll call.
Mrs. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mrs. Boertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Beal?
Yes.
Mrs. Glad?
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Santor?
Yes.
Mr. Sevick?
Yes.
8 yeas.
Item 7A, I would like the board to consider a motion to accept the resignation of Ms. Jamie Chips, paraprofessional aide in the middle school, effective immediately, and place her name back on the day-to-day substitute list.
Make a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Item 8A, I'd like the board to consider a motion to approve for the 2018-2019 school year. All fifth grade students affected by rezoning will be afforded the opportunity to attend their current school if their parents can provide all transportation. No district transportation will be provided, and this is for fifth grade students only. No siblings will be permitted.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Question on the motion, a roll call.
Actually, I'm sorry, I have a question on the motion again. Dr. Wallace, did you get the letters out to notify those parents?
No, ma'am, not until I have a vote that this is what we're doing. Once I have the vote tonight, if If it passes, those will go out tomorrow.
Good, because as we heard from the work session, there's a lot of anxiety within those students.
Right. I'm not going to put the cart before the horse.
Mrs. Wertz?
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mrs. Glad?
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich?
Yes.
Mrs. Beal?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Santor?
Yes.
Mr. Sepic?
Yes.
8 yeas.
9A, I'd like the board to consider a motion to approve the musical director and AV director back to the extracurricular activity positions and to approve the successful bidders.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. Wertz?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Santor?
Yes.
Mrs. Beal?
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich?
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mrs. Glad?
Yes.
Mr. Sepic?
Yes.
8 yeas.
Item 10A, I would like the board to consider a motion to approve tabling the activity fee for all sports and extracurriculars for the 2018-2019 school year.
I'd like to make that motion, but can you explain that to the audience, Mr. Wallace?
In the nutshell, what we are doing is rolling back the activity fees that we initially put in place per budget conversations. So at this point, things will be status quo as they have been in the past in regards to playing sports. The district will fund wholeheartedly the things that we have funded in the past. The parents will not be responsible for any type of participation fee.
That would be the $100 that was originally.
Yes, better known as a $100 activity fee.
Make that motion.
We have a second on it?
Second.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Mrs. Wertz?
Yes.
Mrs. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mrs. Kalich?
Yes.
Mrs. Glad?
Yes.
Mrs. Beal?
Yes.
Mrs. Santor?
Yes.
Mr. Sepic?
Yes.
8 yeas.
Mr. Sepik, that clears the addendum.
Thank you, Dr. Wallace. General matters, under G1A, approve permission for Beverly Beal and Kim Pegler to attend PSA, PSBA School Leadership Conference,
I'd like to make that motion.
October 17th, 19th, 2018, in Hershey. Approximate cost is $1,800. We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Question on the motion? Roll call.
Yes, I have a question. Mr. Sepik.
Yes, go ahead, Mr.
Is
Ray.
this required by the state? Is this something that we're required to do?
No, it is not required that a school district send participants to that, but from my experience in the position that I hold, I can tell you that the board secretary and the board recording secretary should definitely, at a minimum, attend this conference. Most superintendents attend, I do not, nor to save the district money, and other board members are welcome to attend, but we try to scale it back to the individuals that we feel most pertinent or will gain the most information. The information gathered in that conference goes directly to how we operate within our board environment, and Ms. Pegg and Ms. Beal bring back information to make sure that we are currently operating as we should and within the legal parameters of PSBA and PEE.
Thank you.
I would like to add that much information is given, and Kim does an excellent job in reporting to us. Every year, things change. School code changes, school law changes, ethics. Hopefully, she can find out a little about the budget there to bring back and share with us. But it's a wonderful opportunity for them to go, to have professional development, to be able to share it with us. And this is past practice, as I've been doing it for years. And as a board member, I have a lot of benefit from the information you bring back.
Thank you, Mrs. DeAndrea. We need roll call on that.
Mrs. DeAndrea?
Yes.
Mrs. Wertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Glad?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
No.
Mrs. Beal? Mrs. Kalich?
No.
Mrs. Santor?
And almost $2,000, I have to say no if it's not mandatory.
And Mr. Sepic?
Yes.
4 yeas, 3 nays, 1 abstention.
Motion does not carry.
I'll change my vote to yes.
What's the vote now? 4-4-1? 5-3? Motion carries. Career and Technical Institute report, Mrs. Beal or Mrs. DeAndrea?
There was not a meeting last month, Mr. Sepik, but one thing that I am truly looking forward to is the start of the school year. I know they do a wonderful job in working in collaboration with us, which is now mandated, the comprehensive guidance plan. They've done an excellent job getting into one of our elementary schools. Hopefully, we'll have the resources with them to reach out and expand to all of our elementary schools. It's a wonderful program. And again, it is something mandated with the new guidelines and with the comprehensive guidance plan. So hopefully, next meeting, we'll have some good information to share with you about that.
Is that all, Mrs. DeAndrea? Mr. Frankhauser has a comment.
Yes, I was at the CTI Monday for the authority meeting, the building authority meeting, and the activity out there was amazing. What they're doing as far as cleaning and painting and putting the school in shape for the upcoming year. And I wanted to report that they are also doing some very new things with the security at the CTI that will enhance the safety at the CTI, both with metal detectors and also with a reconfiguration of the front entrance, and also dealing with the back open entrances that the shops have that sometimes are left open. So those are all concerns that are being addressed at the CTI. Also, the parking lot project that has been funded by the authority was somewhat delayed, mostly due to weather. They're expecting to have that completed prior to the school start.
One question that I do have, Gary, do you know if CTI was able to get, if it's a $25,000 Safe Schools grant to fund some of the upcoming things? Because I know many of our schools have received that.
I'll have to check on that. I don't know that, but I do know they are enhancing the security. They did hire a security officer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll try to find that out. That's it.
Mrs. Beal, do you have a comment?
I was wondering what we're going to do with Mr. Just's position.
Mr. Just's position, it was a vacated middle school history position. We posted that position, and as a result, took bids and it placed the bidder that met the certification requirements into that position.
And the PIMS?
And the PIMS is currently where it's always been. It's with a teacher at the high school.
Was that not an administrative position?
It was administrative.
It was an administrative position, but during our budget meetings, we redefined and realigned the staff and made 2 positions out of 3. And one of the positions that we made, or one of the 2 that we made out of that, was a dual teaching position and PIMS together.
Well, Mr. Kalich did a wonderful job on those PIMS. And I really believe that we have 3 principals in the high school. There's no reason that we can't save money there. He was fantastic.
My concern.
That's what we did. We rolled that position into a current position.
Now, we took a administrative position and we put it in a bargaining unit for the teachers, which has always been administrative.
No, it is also still administrative if we want it to be. We have the flexibility to put it in a bargaining unit or keep it out of the bargaining unit.
Because
That's per the arbitrator or per the hearing officers.
Well, that was the hybrid position, which is half union, half administration. Am I correct? Yes, so the other half of the hybrid being administration. If there is a change in that position, Gary, do we have to take a board vote to put that into the bargaining unit?
That would happen, yes.
So if it goes into the bargaining unit with teachers, the board would have to take a vote on it. because it's always been administration.
That happened when we voted on the budget.
Yeah, it's still administrative. We have.
It is a position that I did not vote on.
It's not an established organization job.
I want to go back to G1A. I'm confused on the vote.
She passed and then changed her passing.
Well, okay, what did Mrs. Glam do?
She voted no. She voted yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you, because I didn't hear that vote, so it would have been 4-4.
It was 4-3-1.
She voted yes.
Okay, as long as it's proper, it's 5-3 then. Okay, thank you. Other business, public comment? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Lynn. Thank you.
Well, I think I'm going to do it.